Let's give a warm welcome to Dean Sholl.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be here. Big fan of the program and big follower as well. Yeah.
We're super excited to have you here. I guess could you give us a quick introduction? Where you're from, how long you've been at Macaulay, roles you've served,
What your job is now, because I'm not entirely sure. I've been scared to ask.
It varies on any given day. I grew up near here. I was actually born. I was born in a hospital, but where we lived was right down Dodds Avenue, area called East Lake. Moved to Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, when I was probably in the first grade, I think, and grew up there. Went to Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe High School, the Warriors. Mm-hmm. From there, played football, baseball, basketball, and ended up matriculating to Vanderbilt on a baseball scholarship. Stayed there for 2.5 years. I won't get into why I left. I'll just tell you I wasn't kicked out. It's more complicated than that. They really wanted me to stay, But anyway, transferred to UTC, still had a baseball team at the time, so I continued to do that. Decided on a whim that I was going to be a teacher. My old high school principal called me the day I graduated from college and asked me what my plans were, and I didn't really have any. Mm-hmm. Thought I might go to seminary or graduate school, didn't know. And he said, what do you think about teaching for a while? And I said, I'd like to try that. So I started out as a math teacher and never looked back. I knew within a couple of days that was my life's work. It's really neat. So I did that for 3 years and then had a chance to come to Macaulay, and that was kind of a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. So I did that, although I will tell you the head at the time, Spencer Macaulay III, at the end of our interview said, I don't know if you're any good or not. I can't really tell, but you sure fit this position, so we're going to hire you. Now, he denies that, but it was something along those lines. So I started out as a math teacher and assistant coach in football, baseball, and basketball. From there, became the head baseball coach pretty soon after that. Then was a dorm head for a while. Became dean of students, what Chackman does. Mm-hmm. Which was also residential life. So back then the school was smaller, so I was Wadley and Chackman. Okay. And I was better than both of them.
Wow.
No, just kidding.
Throwing shade.
We're clipping that one.
No, couldn't touch it. And then from there, became head of the upper school, new position. And then from there, the current position I have is assistant head of school. So to sum up, kind of what I do, is I'm over the daily operations of the school side, all the things that happen with teaching and learning and all the extracurricular activities. Of course, I in concert with a lot of people and in concert with Mr. Burns as well. Mm-hmm. And it's a wonderful job. It's a lot of fun. Something different every day. Yeah. Not always a good different, but it's something different every day.
Sweet.
So if you can name it, he's done it.
Pretty much. Yeah, this is my 40th year, and I never dreamed that would happen. And it doesn't feel like it, it really went fast.
Sweet. Well, you mentioned you are a big fan of the podcast.
Yes.
Which would lead me to believe that you would know what our opening game typically is.
I do. Is this the trivia game?
Close.
Yeah,
Quick fire.
Name that person.
Quick fire.
Quick fire.
Okay.
So
quick fire.
Wrong on both tries, but it's close.
Yes, it's close enough.
All right. Well,
do you want us to explain the rules, or you more or less have it?
You better do it.
All right. Quick fire. The first game we usually play. We give you some kind of prompt, and then you answer the first thing that comes to your head. Don't think about it. Just say it. First thing that comes to your mind.
And if you're slow, we'll skip the question.
Okay.
No pressure.
None at all.
All right, David.
All right. Funniest teacher at Macaulay?
Reno.
All right. So for those who don't know, Reno is one of the English teachers. He teaches majority student electives. So for only seniors, right now I'm in his literature of horror class, which gives you an inkling as to what kind of person he is that he chooses to teach literature of horror. One of my favorite teachers at Macaulay.
Exactly.
Wes?
Sweet. Best fast food chain?
Chick-fil-A.
Interesting. Favorite subject?
Honors geometry.
Okay.
I hated geometry. All right. Wes?
So did your dad.
He, for context, he was here when my dad was here back in '87.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Moving on. If you could be stranded on a desert island with one faculty member, who would it be? And let me remind you that your daughter is a faculty member.
Yes.
So be careful what you say.
I know.
Another reminder, she listens to the podcast.
I know she does.
She's been on the podcast.
Okay. Well, I'll default to her, but I would really probably choose. I'd probably choose old Hopping. He and I have been joined at the hip for so long. You know, we could figure out how to survive. That'd be all right.
Old Hopping.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
You've seen his head. It's pretty gray.
That's true. No offense.
No offense. Good guy.
So, answer Mrs. Burns, but not actually Mrs. Burns. Old Hopping.
Yeah.
Dean Sholl's got jokes.
Sorry, Callie.
Next one. If you could add one item to the dining hall lunch, what would it be?
All right. I've thought a lot about this.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I would like to go and know that every day there was going to be that turkey breast they make. You know, the one that's got the gravy on it. Yeah, that's it. Now, that's not really adding one. That's just having that every day.
Is that your favorite thing the dining hall makes?
No question.
Really?
Yeah, that's make yourself sick day when you see that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's interesting. I never would have guessed that you were a big turkey guy.
Well, I'm a big turkey guy the way they fix it.
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
There we go. Last one. Favorite Macaulay tradition?
Wow, just one. I love the single clap. You got to give me a few. I love the single clap. And of course, Spirit Week. I love everything about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably singing the alma mater after games.
Nice.
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't narrow that one down, but I love all those.
That's a good top three, though.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Since, from a faculty administration point of view, do any of these Macaulay traditions look a little different? Like, you're worried about Baylor Macaulay Week, it getting too rowdy. Do those ever interfere with you enjoying the week?
Oh, yes. Very intuitive question there. And I made a vow that when I started getting irritated about that kind of thing, I would step away. Okay. And so I still am able to do what we have to do that week and have a lot of fun with it. But the difference now, guys, you've heard this before, is social media.
Right.
The rest of it you can manage. Mm-hmm. But it's social media and then knuckleheads videoing themselves doing things that, get out there beyond just the campus.
Yep.
If we could keep it contained to the campus, it'd be no holds barred. We'd do everything. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But no, you can't do that. So it's too bad.
Yep. And
I've got a quick question, and I've always wondered this since I was a freshman, because I have no idea where you got it. For those who don't know, Dean Sholl has this saying when he releases us on Fridays, right before the weekend ends in chapel, and he says the same thing every time before he closes. Would you mind, just so the audience can hear?
I will do that. It always, this is Friday. It's a bit of a tradition. I think I do it most times. And it is, gentlemen, continue to endeavor to overcome your most promising but underdeveloped frontal lobe.
What's the story behind that?
Well, I did quite a bit of research on boys learning and developing probably about 15 years ago. And what I began to realize the recurring theme is that for males, our frontal lobes develop much later than females. I don't know why that is. Mm-hmm. There must be some reason there that was, hunter and gatherer kind of thing. I don't know. So as we all know, the frontal lobe is where discernment lives and decision making.
I do now.
Indeed. And so what we've learned is the more experiences we can give you all, the more quickly your frontal lobe will develop. That is true. There's a lot of ways to do it, but that is one way you can do that. So it's kind of a warning to say, guys, if at any moment in your thought process, if you have one, you think this is a bad idea, don't do it, is really what it's all about.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And kind of on a similar note, there's another phrase, or I guess word, that you use after every single chapel.
One singular word.
One
really.
singular word, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah. That's the senior.
Precisely.
Why do you say it like that?
Where did it come from? When did it start?
I've been doing that a long time. I don't really know. There was the guy named Warren James, who had taught here forever, was toward the end of his career when I first came. And he had a kind of Southern accent, and he would say "seniors," and so I would kind of, in a complimentary way, kind of mimic him, not mock him. I would mimic him.
Respectfully, of course.
Oh, respectfully, of course.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'll just play along with that and just add to it, and it became seniors, and it's a lot of fun now.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah. I know. It's just become. Yeah, it's become kind of a tradition. But when you've been here as long as I have, you have the possibility of that happening to you. Good or bad.
Good or bad. So I guess kind of moving forward a little bit, this might be a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
What does Macaulay mean to you?
Oh. You're going to choke me up on that one. Come on, man. Get a grip here.
It's a tough question, too.
Yeah, it is. Well, the guys mean everything. I mean, just think of all the guys I've encountered for 40 years, and just so many different people who've come back in my life and made a real difference. It's amazing. They're my doctors, and they're my, mortgage guys, and it's just incredible to have that. But I think what I would come back to every time is not many people in life get to say, at this stage of life, I was able to do exactly what I wanted to do, exactly where I wanted to do it, because of the values of this place and what it stands for. And I get to do that, And so, yeah, I'm so grateful to the school and what it's done for our family. And, every day, there haven't been many bad days here. There's been some hard days, not many bad days. Way I would kind of look at it.
Well, another question, because, you've been here for this is your 40th year, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's a long time. So
it is.
Obviously, nothing's going to remain exactly the same, but what's changed about Macaulay? What's stayed the same?
The values have stayed the same. The way guys interact has really stayed the same. Obviously social media has impacted it a little bit, but teaching and learning have changed for the better. Because before, when we would evaluate teachers, it was about how good of a lecturer are you? Can you stand and deliver a lesson? And that's not nearly as important as it used to be. Now it's about engagement. It's about shift changes and making sure guys are thinking and moving, and so that's been fun. That's been a real improvement. Seeing the campus expand. When Penny and I first came here, Penny is my wife, by the way. When we first came here, cars could drive through campus and connect to Macaulay Avenue. It was crazy, and so there was traffic going through here all the time of people that didn't have anything to do with the school.
Oh, wow.
These streets are open. And so to see what the heads of schools, Spencer McCauley III, Kirk Walker, and now certainly Mr. Burns, have done to help bring this campus to the place it is now, expanding it, buying property, adding fields. And so that's been, it's more than tripled in size since I've been here. So I think that's the most profound thing. I don't like to answer that necessarily about, making it a bricks and mortar answer, but that is really different and for the better.
Yeah. And I guess kind of bouncing off that, in your time here, like, what do you think's one of the biggest things you've learned just through all 40 years of teaching boys and working with boys?
It's a reoccurring theme in my life, and it's to not take yourself so seriously, but take what you do seriously. And I found early on at Macaulay, if you take yourself seriously and the guys pick up on it, you're going to live hard, and you deserve it. If you're one of those, you're going to respect me because I'm the teacher kind of guys or kind of gal or person. I shouldn't say gal, but ladies, I guess. Anyway, then your guys are going to figure that out, and they're going to let you know. And so I realized pretty early on, I can't. I got to laugh at myself. I got to laugh at these guys. Yeah. That was fun.
And is that the thought process behind singing in front of chapel on occasion?
It is. Yeah, but that
For those that don't know, he has a beautiful falsetto voice.
I wouldn't say that, but and I know you're again the the love and sarcasm that
Respectfully,
that we have around here. Yeah,
Respectfully.
No, I do that so that maybe you guys won't take me so seriously, because the job I have it can have its grim moments there. By the time a guy gets to my office these days, if he's been called there, it's not good. Usually, no, not always. I've always said it's better for you to come see me than me to come find you. But that's, I would say, I think that sums it up.
That was a good answer.
That is a good answer.
So, though you started as a coach and teacher, you are currently the assistant head of school.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite part about the job?
It's a great question. I don't know that I've ever even thought about that. I guess being, It's being surrounded by such an incredibly talented group of people. The people that serve on the team with me, administrative team. It's and I don't want to start naming because I'll leave someone out. They are such smart people. I mean, I look around the room sometimes and think I'm the dumbest guy in the room. There's no doubt about it. And the least educated too. And so that and then the humility every one of those people have. The reason this place works so well is, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the DNA or whether it's just the kind of people are attracted here. I don't know, but no one has to get his or her way. I mean, we really work hard. I know it sounds so canned, but we really work hard to find the best way forward for you guys. And you may not always agree with it, but I can guarantee you that whatever we do, we have put a lot of thought in it. And maybe miss some things along the way, but we really have worked at it. So it's those people and knowing you can rely on them and knowing they'll tell you when you're kind of veering from the path, which they do. That's been a lot of fun. And then always, hanging out. I mean, this job keeps you young, no matter how geezer you look. You always, I've always kind of been young at heart because I'm around you guys. You can't help it. Yeah. And you really hone your sarcasm skills as well, which I really like that too.
If you spend 5 minutes hanging out with Dean Sholl, you will pick up on that immediately.
Exactly. Yeah.
So continuing off of that, you said, what's the best part about it? What's the hardest part about the job?
Well, obviously, on the rare occasion when a boy has to go home and being the bearer of that news is really hard. I just. I wait. The days I wake up and know I'm probably going to have to do that. It's really, really hard. Those keep you up at night. And then seeing guys, things happen in their lives that are hard. I mean, maybe a death in the family and being there for them. But I've never like when I leave the house up there. We live on the side of the ridge on campus, and I always tell Penny I'm going down to school. I never say I'm going to work, because I don't even think of it that way. Yeah. It's just I'm going to school, and so that's been, as I said, it's fun to do what you want to do where you want to do it.
Sweet. I guess kind of moving back to a more positive look. You mentioned
a little bit less deep,
you guys, where are we? Yeah.
Well, no, this one's pretty deep. This one's pretty deep. So you mentioned this great team of guys that you work with, and I know a lot of them are Macaulay alums.
All right.
Well, how would you describe like the ideal Macaulay man?
It's a lifelong learner. It's a guy with grit, resilience. And that comes in all kinds of ways, physical, emotional, mental. There's all you just have that grit. Macaulay guys do, and then even as young men, even as high school guys, the Macaulay guys, for the most part, really don't think about themselves like people, like students in other schools like us would, about trying to leverage this or this to reach a certain goal. You don't really see that here. And the other thing is how you guys pull for each other. It's incredible. I guess that over the years, that's been the most humbling thing. Because if the quarterback of the football team stands up and says something, he gets an ovation. If a guy plays a piano recital, he gets one too. And I've always loved that about this place, because people can recognize excellence and hard work, and they really do. They really, they make it obvious that they respect that. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, so now for an actual lighthearted question.
Yeah.
Let's hear some funny stories, or a funny story.
What's the funniest story that you have from 40 years of experience working at Macaulay? If you could choose one story, which is a difficult question. We digress.
I knew you were going to ask me this, and I guess I don't know if that's the funniest one, and it won't sound funny, but it was hilarious. Well, there was an era back in the day when the senior prank was this huge deal.
Which I think it should be again.
I think it still is a big deal.
Last year was
a total flop. No offense to the recent alums.
No. It comes and goes. But the guys who put a lot of thought into it, like the guys who they got a bunch of climbers out there and they put truck tires on the flagpole all the way to the top. Incredible prank, and didn't get caught. And when I saw that one, I just cracked up. And the plant guys, the guys working around here, they were not very happy, because you had to cut those things with a chainsaw. You couldn't get them off; they were too heavy, and so you had to cut them. So they would cut one, pull it out, and it would flop down. It was a spectacle. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take him to get?
Forever. Yeah, that chainsaw went for 2 days straight. That one was fun. And then the other one's very unlike that. These guys made their way into the library, which we used to be, when we had the library when it was in the Learning Center. It used to be the source of all pranks. I mean, everything happened there, and there was a reason, but I won't get into that. And so these dudes got in there, and they had no plan. They didn't know what they were going to do when they got in there, and they they made quite a mess of it. So talking them through that is one of the funnier moments I've had. And then the other one, if you continue the prank thing, the guys that brought the chickens onto campus now, it's about mistreating animals and all that, I get that, but they brought enough chickens and they spelled out the class year and corn, and then the chickens went to the corn, and so there was this bird number there, and I got a picture of it from above, and so we didn't even try to catch them. By this point, I don't really want to know who did it, but as I was shaking their hands, they were handing me chicken feathers. And it took me about 3 or 4 feathers to pick up on what it was. I thought, why are they giving me these feathers? And I realized these are the dudes that pulled the prank. And there's nothing I could do at that point because I had a diploma. So
it's too late.
That's awesome.
So
that is awesome.
Very clever. I have to give them that. So yeah, there are a bunch of them though, where you just belly laugh. But yeah, and just some of the knucklehead things guys do. What were you thinking? I mean, that's a reoccurring thing too. But yeah.
And speaking of senior pranks, everyone always talks about this time when someone brought a cow to the 5th floor of the academy. Did that actually happen?
It did happen, yeah.
How did they get the cow up there?
You don't have to go into detail if you don't want to.
They, there's this, I don't know if it's true or not, but there's this thing saying cows will not go up and down steps. I don't know if that's true. I've always heard that.
I've heard they can go up, but they cannot go back down.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what they did, they brought it from the back, and they didn't go down the steps. They got it off to the side there where you can make your way down. And then the problem with the cow though, it had just eaten, so it was delivering the goods there in the building, which wasn't good. And then there was this big thing about they were hiding golf carts and stacking those everywhere. But one of the best ones was one of the teachers when I first came had this beat up old Volkswagen. I mean, it was a piece of work, and these guys, I don't know how many of them it took, but they picked that car up and got it up. The landing up there on the academic building now has glass in there. I'm talking about where the benches are. And
Yes.
There's some names for it I won't use that area, but you could, at that time, that planter wasn't there, so you had this wide set of steps. They carried that car up there and put it in that kind of what's now kind of a hangout area, and it stayed there forever, because they didn't want to give themselves up till after graduation, and after graduation they had no interest in getting the car down. And so we just walk around it to go to class. It was great.
Interesting. That is awesome.
That is
fantastic.
I've been dying to like hear these stories get verified.
It's true.
You heard it here on the Tornado Talk
Heard
podcast.
it here first, folks.
It's all true.
It is all.
It
true.
all happened.
All happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've got another pretty tough question for you.
This is to end it though. This will be your last one.
Okay.
And then we've got a closing game, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, last question. How do you want to be remembered on the Ridge?
Well, I'll answer it this way. One thing you realize about being a teacher, and I don't teach in the classroom anymore, but I still consider myself a teacher, is that if you create stories for guys or students, but here it's guys obviously, then they'll tell their kids, and you kind of part of you lives on, and that's kind of neat to think about. Because I still think about my teachers and some teachers who retired here. So there's that. But I guess I'd want to be remembered as someone who really cared about the guys. Although in the job I have now, it may be a little harder for guys to know and see because that's one regret I have about the job I have now is I can't get to know the guys like I used to. I used to be that guy, that knew the kid. I knew everybody. And I miss that dearly, but, this is the job I have now. And, but somebody loved the school, loved the guys, tried to be fair, always put them first, even though they didn't think so at times. And somebody that really didn't take himself too seriously and laughed at himself and had a good time with it on every possible day they could. So that's a long answer, but, I don't want to be remembered for anything I might or might not have done. I mean, that's, certainly after 40 years, you're going to pile up some stuff that you've done, but more about, the guys knowing that you cared and the difference that you tried to make.
Yeah.
It was a really sweet answer.
That was really sweet.
Well, I was afraid it was. I tried to toughen it up a little bit, but that's.
You did a good job.
Thank
You did
you.
a good job.
Wow.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We've got one closing game. This is a relatively new one. It's called Over Under.
Over under.
So we will give you a statistic, and you pretty much just have to guess whether the number it's over or under the number.
Got it.
So I guess David, why don't you start us
Yeah, I'll
off?
start off with the first one. Prompt. On Orange Chicken Days in the dining hall, the dining hall staff makes 250 pounds of orange chicken.
250 pounds. Think about
200.
that.
That's got to be under.
Over. The dining hall staff makes 300 pounds of
Are you
chicken
kidding
alone.
me?
Then
Wait for it.
Then at 300 pounds of chicken alone, then adds the orange sauce, vegetables, and spices for another 100 pounds.
400 pounds of orange
cow.
chicken.
I can't believe that. Are you kidding me? On one day?
One day.
All right. I was way off on that one.
Macaulay loves their orange chicken.
That's
You
true.
do indeed.
The line is usually at
It-
least
it
25
is.
minutes.
It
It
is.
is
It is.
ridiculous.
I take one look at it and head for Tommy and pizza. That's all I do.
So good, but it's so long.
I know.
I know. Well, when you get my age, you have to think about orange chicken before you eat it. It's my metabolism's shot. That's all I'll say about that. Continue on with it.
All right. Next one.
Yeah.
There are 20 married couples currently working at Macaulay.
20?
20.
Gosh, know that. I'd say under.
You would
Correct.
be correct.
Yeah.
There are 13
Okay.
married couples working
There
at
we go.
Macaulay.
There we go.
All right, third and final one. Mrs. Suddeth, who works in the counseling department, refills the candy jar outside of the counseling office once every week.
No, that's an under. It's got to be more often than that.
Well, it is more often, but it's over.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Then you got to give me credit for that. That's what I mean.
yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
All right, good.
Miss Suddeth refills the candy jar once every other day. That's a lot of candy.
That's a lot of candy.
I don't know if I believe that, though. I think she refills it almost every day.
I
It's
would
got to
think
be
so,
at
too.
least.
Because personally, I mean, I'm in there between
I know.
every class period.
I see you in there with pocketfuls of candy.
It's
Yes.
exactly what
It's
happens.
slightly concerning, but
I have a sweet tooth.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong.
Ergo, the orange chicken, which is
Exactly.
yeah,
also very sweet.
It is.
It is.
It's a good day when you get candy from the counseling center and orange chicken from the dining hall.
Do you ever
Bounce off
do you,
the
do you
walls.
ever make the trip up to the counseling center for candy?
I don't get the candy, but I go up there from time to time. I won't necessarily say why. Sometimes just to clear my own head, but no, yeah, it's good. That's one of the greatest things that this school has done too, is put that much effort into wellness and counseling,
Yeah.
which wasn't here when I got here.
Yeah.
Fun fact for all the listeners, there's actually a special jar in Mr. Kaufman's office. He's one of the counselors that is for seniors only, and it has, no offense to Mrs. Sutta, the best candy anywhere on campus, and that is a fact.
As it should. Yeah.
Wes has a Mr. Goodbar that he
Might
got
have
from there
more. I
earlier.
think I grab
I said pocketfuls. Lo and behold,
see if we got a different one.
crackle.
And yeah,
Oh.
I ate 8 during AP Euro today.
Let me tell you, do it while you can.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, you should,
Yeah.
because I can't do it.
It's great. It's great.
It is.
All right. Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you guys. A
Um,
lot of fun.
It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
The
Yeah.
stories were phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I'm a big fan, as I said, and it's yeah. Thank you. Thank you for letting me tell my stories.
Sweet.
Happy
I
to have
guess
you.
Yeah.
to
Thank you.
wrap it up, I'm curious, can all three of us go for the senior in unison?
I feel
Oh,
like
I've
absolutely.
always wanted to go for this.
All right,
I've
yeah.
All right,
always
why
wanted
don't
to
you
do this.
count us down, Dean
That's
Sholl?
big
All
time.
Give us a
All right,
countdown.
here
Give us a countdown.
right.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Seniors.
Oh, that was
That was
so
perfect.
good.
That was so good.
Almost in harmony.
Almost.
No
I don't know
falsetto,
if I'll
though.
ever be able to get the at the end
At
right.
the end is perfect.
It's too good.